Happy Monday to all my student friends of 3rd semester BCom. This is Andrew from the Department of English, STC Degree College, Bangalore. I'm of course happy to meet you after a long hiatus. So you must be wondering, what is the meaning of this word hiatus? First and foremost, as an English teacher, I have to teach you the pronunciation of this word called as hiatus. How is this word pronounced as hiatus? Try telling I ate us. And then try changing the first word into hi ate us. What is hiatus? Hiatus means a missing gap in something or after a long missing thing. Okay. It's been a while when I've met my student friends over these video classes. Therefore, I begin this session by quoting a new word called as hiatus. Hiatus is after a prolonged absence, after a missing gap in something else. Okay. Since you didn't see me for a couple of days over this video session, so I'm happy to meet you over this video session. Okay. That is where the word called as hiatus comes into play in this particular class. First things first, you need to have your Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary at your disposal, and you need to have your textbooks at your disposal, because I'm going to read from page number 58 and page number 59. The summary has been told to all my student friends, and I also elaborated on the important thematic concerns of the drama or the one-act play. And of course, I also told you the characterization as well as the motif. Motif means a theme which is repeated again and again inside a drama. And the main concern of the drama, or the main thematic concern of the drama, which I want to reiterate again, is actually hate the sinner but not the sin. And we have all these typical qualities found inside a godly man called as the bishop and the convict. They are like two polarities, but at the same time, the bishop's good nature, the bishop's virtuous nature, the bishop's compassionate nature is successful in converting the convict from being a convict, from being a criminal, into a righteous person. These are the important thematic concerns. I hope you have watched my previous video session, which is volume number 10. Volume number 11 is just a corollary. Corollary means a logical sequencing from what has happened from the previous video session. From the previous video session, we saw how the convict is extremely hungry, and we used a few words to describe it. And we also saw the bishop's compassion and commiseration. Pronounces commiseration. What is commiseration? Showing your sympathy and empathy towards the other person is called as commiseration. So the bishop's commiseration and compassion, and the convict's uncouth manners, pronounced as uncouth. Okay. What is uncouth? Uncouth is undignified, unrefined. When you come from the upper strata of society, you are expected to be very dignified in your mannerisms, especially in the way you talk, and especially in the way you eat, and especially in the way you interact. So we have a new word to describe this called as etiquette. Table etiquette. Table etiquette means table manners. There are people who are coming from the higher strata of society, from the creamy layer of society, who have this dignified table etiquette. And they are known to be very fastidious and meticulous, especially the way they eat. Even when they are eating or even when they are eating, they are not supposed to make those harsh noises what we are making seldom as Indians. Okay, all these are part and parcel of etiquette. But the convict does not show all this etiquette in his life, because he has been bred from prison. Since he has come from prison, he lacks that sophistication. He lacks that sophistication which person already has in a life. Okay. And we are looking at the way he was eating the food given by the bishop like an animal. I'm reading from page number 58. As far as forks taking it up, 14, he throws it away. We don't use forks in prison. My knife is sharp. He runs his finger across the edge and looks at his edge of the knife and feels that it has to be sharpened. Okay. Person in prison, cutting off an enormous slice which he tears with his fingers like an animal. So, English is a language which is growing every single day, ladies and gentlemen. There are words which are coined every day, there are words which are used in a very interesting way every day. One such example I want to elaborate in this particular session is genomics. This is an example of something called as a neologism. What is a neologism? Neologism is creating a new word, coining a new word. Neologism. For example, ginormous is made out of gigantic and enormous. Something which is gigantic and something which is enormous. So gigantic plus enormous put together gives you ginormous. Okay. So enormous, by the by, means very huge. So it takes a huge slice with sprinkles like an animal. So you have animalistic instincts inside a convict, and he looks at the door. Why the devil do you leave the window unshuttered? Why are the windows unshuttered and the door unbarred? So that anyone can come in, shutting the bishop shuts the door because he has got his own reservations. He expresses his own fears. Okay, he has got his own ambivalence. What is ambivalence? Having a good feeling and bad feeling about something is called as ambivalence. He shows his own nervousness. He displays his own tendency of nervousness by telling the bishop, why have you left it unshuttered and why have you left the door open? Anybody can come inside. Here the convict himself seems to forget that he has entered only because the bishop has opened the door. Bishop, that is why they are left open. Well, they are shut. The convict once again wants to make it doubly and trebly sure that nobody else is going to turn inside, so he shuts the door. He doesn't even want to leave the door ajar. Ajar is slightly open. The door may be slightly open and he's closing the door, making sure that nobody else is going to barge inside the door or sneak inside the door. Bishop sighs to take a deep breath for the first time in 30 years. That means the bishop has got a condition. What is the condition? He has got a condition of leaving his door ajar, slightly open, so that any vagrant, any poor traveler, any person who is hungry should step inside the door, and the bishop will show his compassion, and the bishop will show his hospitality to a poor vagrant or a traveler who is without food. But for the first time in 30 years, his door is shut. Convict eats voraciously and throws a bone on the floor. What is voracious? Voracious is eating something in a hurried manner. We have other words to describe this in English. It is also called as gobble and snuff. Eating greedy, pretty much okay. Eating greedy and hungrily in a very faster fashion. Okay. If you are very hungry, if you want to be very resilient, you are gobbling your food. Gabba gabba in Kannada. Okay, that is called as gobbling. He is snuffing and gobbling at his food and throws a bone on the floor. Puzzling, oh my nice clean floor. You can find the important thematic concepts which I want to elaborate in every video session of mine. We have the convict's uncouth manners versus person's fastidiousness. What is fastidiousness? Fastidiousness is being bothered about individual detail or being bothered about tiny detail. Mothers inside the kitchen want to leave or keep the kitchen spick and span. Time for me to tell you the idiom of the day. Tidy and clean. Person is known to be very fastidious. She displays her fastidiousness, okay, by being bothered about the flow, whereas the convict is known for his unrefined, uncultured mannerisms because he doesn't follow all these table etiquette which the upper sections of society tend to follow. Even when you are dining out or eating out with foreigners, please pay attention to the way they eat, especially the French and the British. They are known to be very meticulous and they are known to be very fastidious. And you see the way in which Indians eat. I'm sorry to tell this over the video platform. I don't mean it as a discriminatory kind of a sentence or a biased statement because we are Indians, we are bound to be Indians, we have our own traditions. We need to be extremely proud of our customs. Just for a comparison, I'm just giving it. Please read it within quotes. What I mean to tell you is when you watch the mannerisms of the French and the British, they are very, very meticulous and they are very, very fastidious. Absolutely no noise. And when you see Indians munching their food or gobbling their food or nibbling their food, you get a sense of isolation, especially when you're eating out with the French or with the British. This is one point of comparison which I apparently want to bring in this video session just for the sake of comparison. This is not meant to hurt any of the Indian friends because we are Indians and we are extremely proud of our traditions which we have to be all the time. It is just a cultural aspect related to food which I want to elaborate to my student friends. And that etiquette. So he eats and throws the bone on the floor. Whereas for Persephone, she is clutching her pearls. Clutch your pearls or clutch one's pearls is an idiom which I used in my previous video session, which also means reacting more, hyper-reactive, okay, more than what the situation actually demands. imagines. For example, if it is frightened, you're frightened to death more than what the situation demands. For example, a small thing in your house is missing. If you shout so much so that the heavens will crash to the earth, that is called as scratching your purse. Reacting in an over hyperbolic way is called as scratching your purse. She's scratching her purse by shouting, "Oh, my ice cream floor." Bishop picks up the bone and puts it on the plate. But for the bishop, it is common. He is used to it because his habits are based on compassion. He has to understand another individual. He is commiserating with the other person. So he just picks up the plate, no reaction from the bishop. Because he is known to be classic. He is known to be unflustered. I used all these words in my previous video session. Classic, unflustered. He is undisturbed. He doesn't overreact like Versailles. He picks up the bone and puts it on the plate. Convict, you're not afraid of thieves. I'm sorry for that. So here you have to understand once again another fundamental difference. The bishop remains unflustered. Unflustered is not worried about the circumstance and the situation that the convict is having a knife in his hand. He may attack him anytime. The convict tries to boss over him. The convict tries to create panic in his mind. Imagine, my dear student friends, if you are sitting and dining out at your house, there is a convict with a knife attacking you. Will you be confident? Will you be assured? Will you be unflustered? But the bishop remains unflustered. And another beautiful word which I forgot in my previous video session, which I want to reiterate right now, is unfluttered or unflattered. Extremely calm even in a tense situation. So he imagines the bishop to be cringing in fear. I have created a separate column for this vocabulary column for all these difficult words or words in context which my student friends will carry forward as the value-added addition from this particular session and use it in your real-time circumstances. I have repeated it umpteen times, which I will reiterate again. English is not confined within the four corners of the textbook. Words are the building blocks of knowledge. And vocabulary is going to make that value addition into your English and take it to the next level. Therefore, apart from learning the bishop's candlesticks, please concentrate on your vocabulary, on your idioms and phrases, and in your phrasal verbs. That is going to be a shot in the arm. This is another idiom which I use in this particular session. And I'll allow my student friends to find out from your Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary what is the meaning of this idiom called as shot in the arm. So here, I need to tell you, the convict wants the bishop to cringe in fear. What is cringe? See, when you're afraid, your hands and legs start shivering and you're cowering before them in fear. Okay? Baya, okay? The convict is expecting the bishop to be threatened. But the bishop is very assured. He tells that I'm not afraid of thieves, I'm only sorry for them. Sorry for them, drinks from the bottle, that's a good one. Now he drinks the wine. Sorry for them. Drinks suddenly, what the devil are you? What? This is unexpected because I was expecting you to cry before me or come and fall at my feet and tell, please leave me, whatever you want I give from my house, or do you require money or food? He's expecting that kind of a treatment. But the bishop remains unflustered and very calm. So he feels that something is suspicious and tells, what the devil are you? That means, what are you? What is your profession? I'm a bishop. A bishop, Holy Virgin. Holy Virgin is a reference to Mother Mary. A bishop will have damned. Damned means condemned. What is condemned? In Christianity and other religions, we use the word called as condemned. What is condemned? That means if you are a sinner, if no one can save you from that situation and you die as a sinner, you are going to go to hell. So he thinks that I'm condemned. That means the bishop will give his lecture classes and he's going to give all his gospel lectures to me. He is going to try to convert me to Christianity and I'm damned because I have to listen to his advice over and over again. Bishop, I hope you may escape that. The bishop tells son, yes, religion may tell that you are a sinner, but I am not hating the sinner. I only hate the sin. Therefore, you will not have condemnation in your life. Definitely God will give you a new life. This is what the bishop tries to reassure you. My son, Personally, usually this gentleman will excuse you and immediately points out to Persame and tells that Persame, please leave this place. I want to have a private chat or a conversation with this person. Persame, leave with you. Bishop, please, my friend, and I can talk a little more freely then. The bishop immediately senses the opportunity and tells to Persame, please leave because we need to have a private chat. And definitely this gentleman will not open up if you are standing and listening to this conversation. So immediately, even in the Indian context, people are supposed to be very inquisitive. You see, they are poking their nose into the affairs of others. Some people are known to be very gossipy, and there are others who are quidnuncs. And there are some others who will pretend to be away from the conversation, from the zone. For example, if 3 of you are talking, 2 of you want to discuss something very private, the third person may act and pretend that he is not away in that zone, but he will be eavesdropping. What is eavesdrop? Secretly listening to a conversation. That is called as eavesdrop. Kattu keluga in Kannada. Okay, I may see people, they will not be within hearing distance. They pretend that they are off. And once when you start talking, you are going to secretly listen to this conversation. That is called as eavesdropping. So the bishop tells that no sense of you eavesdropping. Leave this room immediately. I want to speak privately to the convent. On this note, this is Professor Alvin signing off. Thanks for watching, my dear friends.